Okay, Parshas Kisavai. What's Kisavai start with? The Bikurim. Somebody has the first fruits you bring. What's Bikurim? The essence of Bikurim is, it says, you dwell in, right? You possess that Yisrael, your inheritance, and you dwell in it. So and then you take the first fruits and you come to the koyin and you say the yeah. I declare today to Hashem Elkech, Gibos Olos Hashem Nishba Hashem Elkein, Lavisenu Losus Lanu. And Velokach Koyin Hatenim Midech, Vinichol Lifnei Hashem Elkecha, Venisa V'Madu Lifnei Hashem Elkecha, Alami Oividovi. Arami wanted to destroy my forefather, and they went down to Mitzrayim, and they dwelled there, they lived there with few people, Vayishom Legoy Godel, Otzim Verov, great, strong, and numerous, many. Vayrei Oisonu HaMitzrim, Mitzrim not Lonu, they didn't do to us, they made us bad, they made us become bad people, in other words, not worthy, right? They schlepped us down with them, with their terrible character and so on. Vayanunu, they tortured us. They gave us very difficult labor. We cried out, Hashem listened. I want to explain that a little later. And then Hashem took us out of Mitzrayim, and then he brought us to the land of Israel, a land of Zavas, Chalav, Dvash, hence the cafes, the dairy cafes, milk and honey. Yeah. What's Eretz Zavas Chalav Dvash? Okay, flowing Chalav and Dvash, milk and honey. Honey is from dates of Adam. I brought it. I did what I was supposed to. I bowed down. Okay, and then you have to be rejoice in all the good. What is all the good? What Hashem gave you. Then starts Kisachalil Aser is Maser Tavoscha Bashona Hashlish is Shnas Maser, and you have to give it Legay Yosel Mona, and then you Vidu Maestris. You have to declare all the Maestris that you did, and then it comes with Ashkifa. What's going on here? Let's try to work this out today with you. What's Bikurim? What's the first fruits? You have the first fruits, you worked very hard. People don't chap. Why is Amoitzi so precious? Why is Birchas Hamazon only for bread? Why? Bread can make 5-5 minute dogim, right? You have also the spelt, our favorite, the spelt, because it's healthy. I don't know, better digestion as a zokman. So you have chita soida, of course. That's when the shivas aminim. You have chita and soida, which is you have grains out of flour and out of chita. And then you have soda barley, right? You have wheat and barley, and of course you have oat, and you have rye, and you have spelt, and chameshes midadogan. Now, and if you eat that, you make a berchas hamazon. Why berchas hamazon? Well, amol people not only worked so hard to you have to plow the field, right? And you have to take away all the negative stuff and everything that all these weeds, and then you have to plant it, water it, make sure not too much sun, not too little sun, enough rain, not too much rain. And the weather, just this season, I know in Lvov, the weather, it was way too cold. So everybody told me all their fields, everything is gone. That's it. They just lost everything. That was a few weeks ago. Or at the beginning, and towards more the beginning of the summer, they lost. It was way too cold, and they didn't have the right weather. They didn't the right temperature, and people are worried for half a season, a whole season. Some people worry a whole year, and then finally they come out with the bread, and it shouldn't eat it up, and it shouldn't be infested. There's so much worry the whole time, and then finally they get the bread. The winnowing, the whole threshing and till they get the kernels, and then they put it into the meal with the 2 stones, until they get it done, and then they have to make sure it doesn't get wet. They have to make sure it doesn't get infested with all bugs and worms and everything else. And then usually they don't even get they don't even get to eat it that season. They get to like next year, the paupers, you think they can eat right away this season. And there's a veld of worry until they put bread on the table. And when they put that bread on the table, there's so much work and worry. So that the appreciation is in l'shai, and therefore, hence the berachas hamazon, the grace after meal. So when you take the first fruits, first of all, who's the boss of it? Who takes earth and minerals and turns that into whatever kernel, whatever wheat you put into the ground? Who does that? Hashem does that. So you have to say thank you to Hashem. That's number one. But Rashi says that she'ina kofi toiv, you shouldn't be a kofi toiv. Somebody that is ingratitude, somebody is not grateful, forget it. Forget it. See, thankful is one time. Gratefulness is a whole lifetime. We have to kricharein even deeper. There's such a thing as nahama de chesufa. Nahama in Aramaic is bread, the chesufa of embarrassment, right? What's embarrassing? You're a beggar. Beggars can't be choosy. You come into the restaurant, you don't have money to pay. So you say, look, if you have any leftovers, you can't sell it. They give you whatever you have. Toshtani jalka. Yeah. So, I want to dedicate today's share to our great friend from New York, Rabbi Yaakov David Kluchnikov, with his family, of course, his wife and kids, but he's making a mitzvah today in New York, of the mayor. So I'm going to say a story of Meir Premishlana. I don't know, maybe he's named Meir after Meir Premishlana, but I want to say a story. We went together to the Meir Premishlana a few years ago, probably less than 5 years ago. We went together. He took me to Meir Premishlana, and 50 kilometers from Lvov, our grandfather, and I want to dedicate today's shir for a gewaldig atzloch all the brachas in the Torah, and it should be mekuyim, the binokel and barachava, menuchas hanefesh, with peace of mind, and he should be able to fulfill all his good wishes, mishalus liba l'toiva, and believe me, he's got a heart bigger than the whole America. So if he has a good, everybody around him will rejoice. So getting back, the nahama, the chesufa, the bread of embarrassment, you don't want to be a beggar. So rachmim is a beggar. What's rachmim? You don't have enough to pay. So I'm gonna, I'll let you get away. I'll let you go with less. I'll look away. Rachmim is you don't have what to pay in the restaurants. I'll give you whatever, and beggars can't be choosy. So you're happy with what you get. But really you would want din, not rachmim. Mercy is, for the beggars. You want din, you want to make enough money so you can walk in and no favors. I'm paying tablin or tequila, I'm paying full price, I'm paying top dollar, and I want top service and top quality and top variety. That's a free person. A free person doesn't have to, just squeeze into this little narrowness or this menu, right? He wants variety. He wants when he wants, what he wants, how much he wants. So din would be the proper way, but people they mess up in life and they don't have enough on the account. So they have to go to Rachman. Rachman is, give me a sale, find me somewhere. Okay, what's the sale of the day? Is this cheap? Give me a business lunch, give me a brunch, breakfast, salad, give me something for the paupers, there's a ready sandwich, it's getting half soggy. Okay, just take it. Okay, it's okay. No, so you don't want Nahmid Chasufa, but here's the issue. If you do have enough, then look at all these rich people. Many, many rich people, unfortunately, when their parents make a lot of money, they work very hard from zero. They started from zero and they made something out of themselves that children or grandchildren take advantage. And they become spoiled brats. And alles kommt mir. It's becoming to me. What do you mean you're not going to give me? You know who I am? You know my father? You know my grandfather? One phone call and you'll be out of a job. These people's attitude. I mean, many people in business and first class just ask the flight attendants, the stewardess, they'll say these are the worst people to deal with. Everything is drama. Everything is a problem. Everything is, and they think they're above you. They look down at you. They're the successful. You're the failure. The question is, could they rejoice with anything Hashem gives them? And most of the time the answer is no. they get a lot and they bicker and bicker and bicker and always complaining, never having it. Could you imagine? Well, I went to that place and it was missing a towel. It wasn't symmetry and it wasn't symmetric and this wasn't matching it. Ugh, they go crazy. And other people think, get a life. I remember there was a rich lady, husband had a lot of whatever. And I remember she was complaining to my wife. This is a few dozens of years ago. And I remember she was complaining to my, and people were making pennies. They didn't have money. They were dying of hunger. I'm talking about Lvov. And she was complaining, could you imagine? I don't know where to go on vacation this month. Every month vacation, flying overseas or out of the country, international, and a millionaire, and she went around the world a few times, and she was complaining it's just such a difficult life because she doesn't know how to decide. How could she decide? She doesn't know where to go to. She was everywhere. And I'm thinking, these people would want all Yitzaris, every drop of it, besides the. If a person has all that and has enough, and Hashem gave you all the blessings, and Rashi says, She'ein kofi toiv, you have to come, and that's vidui. Vidui means, what's vidui? You're coming to say I did nothing wrong, so why is it vidui, right? What am I repenting for? What? I'm coming to say, I did everything you commanded me. So what's this vidui maestris? I gave everybody, but the vidui is that I didn't appreciate enough. I don't succumb there. It's like, yeah, it's a given. Why not? I'm worthy. Why not? So the first thing is we have to appreciate what we have. So Hashem says, if I give you everything, then you'll be whole day tinus and minus complaining the whole time. On the other hand, if I give you namad chsufa, you have to come on to people. Then all of a sudden, take this rich lady or this rich man, and they thought the whole world is coming to them. And they had tinus and minus in the whole world. And all of a sudden, this client drops this, they lose everything and all privileges. And they made noise, but wherever it is, this company, don't let her in. Don't let him in. What do you mean I lost I'm the CEO? No, you're not CEO. I'm sorry. You're out. What do you mean I'm the lead? No, you're not anymore. What do you mean I'm the greatest Kanaka? No, all your clients left, all the big companies. What? My supply? Yeah, everybody. You're down to, you have nobody. You have nobody. And all of a sudden, it hits them. All of a sudden, they become humble and they get right into place and they become the nicest of people. What happened? It's lo yavarti mitzvah. I didn't forget who I am. I didn't forget where I come from. I didn't forget that it's all not from me. It's all from Hashem. That's what Bikurim, the first things, bring to him and get the record straight and get your head straight. It shouldn't get you the riches and the brachas and the yeshuas that you got. It's not. It can be taken away in a split second. Don't ever take it for granted. You have a roof over your head, you have family, you have friends, you have a kehillah community, you have a workforce, you have people to camaraderie, and you have teamwork, and you have just the basics of life. Never forget, never forget and take for granted. I was today with my wife in the office, and somebody mentioned September 11, 9/11, and it hit me. So I shared over there the story that everybody knows. Apparently in the office, they didn't know it. So I was thinking, maybe there's one guy on this planet that doesn't remember the story. So for that one person, I'll say it because it has to be said. So Hakaras HaToif, like 101 Hakaras HaToif. I asked my wife, I forgot the name of the cafe, where was it, Rehov Yafa, I forgot where it was in Yerushalayim. She told me Sabra, I think, I forgot by now, again. So everybody remembers that story. It was like 2000, 2001. Okay. And in that year, there was a grandfather. Again, I'm telling you the gist of the story. I can't remember exact details. Don't get me. Don't don't mix me up with the facts. The lesson of the story. There was apparently a grandfather. Either he came from America. Either his grandchild was in Israel, or he brought him. But he came with a grandchild, a grandson, a granddaughter. I don't remember. And he comes and apparently there's a toy stand somewhere right there nearby, and they went into the store, to the cafe restaurant, and they waited a half hour. Tremendous lines. And the kid is impatient. He wants to get that toy. And the grandfather first wait. We waited already half hour. Every second they might call us, and that they were almost we're like five people to. And if we go away, we lose our place in the line. The kid's aganza. And the young man behind them says, why can't you go with your child for 5 minutes, get him the grandchild, get him the toy, come back? And he says, well, I lose my line. He said, no, this is Israel. Yeah, you don't lose nothing here. We have our own rules of it. Yeah, shame. Okay. So you mean to say I can leave and come? Yeah. Shame. So he takes the kid, walks out, goes around the corner, just like one or two houses, and boom, it bombs the whole cafe, restaurant, and Nebuch, what happened then, everybody knows. So he felt terrible. This young guy saved his life. Did he stay alive? So he tried to find out. It took him a while, and he found out that the guy survived. Many didn't, but that guy survived, and he's in the hospital. Till he was able to get him, it took like 2 days. He finally gets to his bed, and he said, to track you down wasn't easy at all. And I have to tell you, I'm so glad. And here's my business card. You saved my life, my grandchild's life. I owe you my life. And I'll forever be grateful to you. Hakoras Hatoiv. Here's the thing. Take my card. I'm not, a malach, but I'm a human being that never forgets the good people did with me. You saved my life. I owe it to you. If you ever need anything, here's my number. The guy goes through an array of operations, whatever, and he has to do rehabilitation and some operations, some work in America. I think it was Boston. I can't remember. So he takes the card, calls up the guy, and the guy says, by all means, it's all on me. I don't have insurance. You don't need insurance. I'm taking care of everything. I'm a person of means. I'll take care of it. So he goes and organizes the whole, the series of all, the procedures, whatever was involved, and rehabilitation, of course, room and board, and of course, the traveling and all the expenses. He said, I'm flying your business, and I'll pick you up personally in the airport. The kid, he comes to pick him up with his fancy car, and he took off work that morning, and he didn't come in, he'll come in an hour late and whatever. So he goes, picks him up in the morning, and he's driving out of the airport, and boom, 9/11, and the plane goes into the building, exactly into his office on the 80th, whatever floor, where the plane went into his office in the Twin Towers. So he says, wow, Hakoros Hatoiv, you saved my life twice. The first time you saved my life, but because I had a Hakoros Hatoiv to pick you up and to organize and to take you, and to pay out, Hashem gave me a new life already the third time, and I owe to you again. Hakoros Hatoiv knows no ends. It reminds me, if you're talking about Rameh Premishlana, Yaakov David, your son, Meir, so Rameh Premishlana. Rameh Premishlana is in Ukraine, 50 kilometers southeast of Lvov, and people go there. But there's somebody that came a few years ago, and I hope he doesn't mind me tell the story. And more or less, he married off a few children. He was in Techavis, and the job that he had, he was in, teaching Torah, disseminating Torah. But something closed down there, and he didn't have a job. I think he lived in Muncie. Then he moved to Monroe. A Satmar Chassid. What a gem of a person, a tzaddik from a bench, such a refined person, such a beautiful person, mamisha, something out of the ordinary, very unique, very special. Rabbi Reich. So he calls me up, of course. I forward it to my wife because she organizes the guests and everything. And he calls up, he needs a driver. Could she please provide him a driver from the airport of Lvov to Premishlan and back, and the driver should stay with him the whole 24 hours. Then he goes back to the airport and flies out. It never happened before. Somebody goes in the middle of the winter, freezing cold, like -20, no heating, goes from the airport like a malach to the Tzion, sits in the oil, and back to New York. no eating or nothing, 24 hours in the freezing cold without any heating. It was very unique, but I didn't ask questions. The next year, he calls up again and he comes in. This time he wants to stop off in shul and he goes to the mikveh and, okay, takes a coffee. But again, to the oil, the next day he flies out. Next year already, he comes out to me and he asks me, he wants to, do something for a Meir Premishlan and he wants to help out and he wants to do something, for like, so we spoke and he went and he bought off a house, one of the houses on the block there for pretty, I don't know, whatever, it wasn't too expensive. And then that year, they a little renovation, a little painting, a refreshing, but no big deal. And then a few people came in, a group, Rabbi Margolis from Vienna, Aruv, there, and he has his Kehillah, Chassidish Rebbe. He's a special tzaddik. He once helped us out years ago for our mikveh, our Deraisadik mikveh, if you know what I mean, in Lvov. And this is going back almost 30 years ago. Very special. And he's also Einikel from Shlan. So we came a minion and a beautiful Akleine Sidel. It was very nice. The next year, he wants to build a Achnos Sorcha. Again, what can I do? So after a few years, I mustered up the courage and I said, tell me, what does Satmar have to do with Premishlan? He says, what do you mean? It's the idea in Satmar that the two greatest Balmoivsim by the Chassidish Rebbe was the Meir Premishlan and the Radashitza. So he came to Meir Premishlan the first. So he tells me his story, and I hope he's not upset at me, but he married off a few kids, and he lost his job, none of his fault. There was something, they closed out or whatever it was, and then, or he moved, and the point is that he doesn't have a job, and he married off kids, he has chayvis. So what did he do? He bought a ticket, came to the Meir Premishlan, overnight, he davened, and he comes back in the airport, literally in the airport. He flies into New York, he opens his phone, he flips it open, and he's got a few missed phone calls. He goes, phone call number one, somebody calls him up, and he says, I'm trying to get a hold of you. We want to hire you for in the yeshiva there, Magachir. He's a big Talmud Chacham, and for the older Bachram in Satmar in Monroe, and they hired him. That's one Yeshua right there. The second phone call, he returns the phone call. An old friend says, I heard you fell on hard times, chayvis, marrying off kids, whatever, a few $100,000, whatever it was. I'm giving you the money. You'll pay me whenever you'll have to pay back, you pay back. No pressure, no date, no nothing. The next year, more Yeshuas. And he said, I have to do something for Rameh Premishlan because in his chus, my life was right back on the track. It fell off for a second, so he thought, and he went to the tzaddik. This is true hakaras hatoiv. See, some people, this is so important. I mean, one of the greatest lessons in life. You have a person that goes to the gym, and they work out, and they toil for 2 hours, and they schwitz for 2 hours. They sweat bullets for 2 hours. Now they lost calories. They got the main thing that you lose calories and fats is the body that needs energy to function, and the body will take the fats, energy from the fats to function. And the most that needs to function is when you have muscles. When your body has muscles, it takes a lot of energy to function. So for all the organs, of course, but also the muscles. So the more you work out, the more not only the immune system becomes better, but you lose a lot more because you need more energy. You lose a lot more of the fats, and you become healthier. So this guy works out 2 hours, and after 2 hours, he says, "Look, I was makriv 2 hours. I hate what I do those 2 hours, but I did it. I sacrificed. Now the world owes me everything. Therefore, he walks to the store and treats himself out. What does he treat himself out? With a few thousand calories, way more, like 10 times more than the calories he lost by his 2-hour workout. Then you have the smart guy. The smart guy comes out and says, what am I going to ruin my whole life I worked for 2 hours. I killed myself for 2 hours. And just to kill it by this five minutes of eating garbage, putting into my body garbage and to ruin 2 hours of my hard work, my toil. No, there's no way I'm going to do that. There's a guy that comes into shul, he comes into yeshiva, comes into any chesed, and he toils in a Gemara, and he toils in Ahavas Hashem, and he toils in Yiras Hashem, and he toils on Avodah and Tefillah and Chesed. And after that, he says, the whole world, the whole world should respect me, the whole world should worship me, because I was makriv, I sacrificed for Judaism. Then you have the Chavetz Chaim. The Chavetz Chaim, that's kulei hakoros hatoif. And the Chavetz Chaim, at the end of his life, after publishing numerous sforim, after traveling Europe to sell them, to spread, to disseminate Torah, Hashem's word, Dvar Hashem, and to make everybody's life more worthwhile and more successful, more fulfilling and more meaningful, and therefore you'll be happier people. And after that, instead of saying, Rebbeinu Shloim, I scored big time. I've got an exceptionally great ticket to Gan Eden. No, his attitude is, Rebbeinu Shloim, you gave me this chus to serve you, to worship you, to just for the sake of you. Nothing, mamish the Yiras Shamayim, the Yiras Chet, the Havas Hashem, Havas Torah, Havas Yisrael, everything. You gave me such chusim. Now, how can I ever pay you back? All this foreign and all the Jewish life I had, the life I led, the people I inspired, how can I pay you back now? Not the Welt becomes, now how can I pay back? As if that's what you did, Rebbeinu Shloim. Now what can I do for you? That's the Hakoros HaToiv. And that's the Hakoros HaToiv this Rabbi Reich had when he came to pay back. That's when he came to pay back the Eivishter for the main Mishlan. What a beautiful, magnificent Achnas Sorchim, like a 5-star hotel. And many Hasidim and many Rebbes and many Rabbonim came, and Mamash Kiddush Hashem. Because of Hakoros HaToiv, nothing zich, literally the same life he led before, the same unassuming, but he went L'man Hashem, not the garbage stuff, the top quality stuff. You give to Hashem, you give him the best. So you come to the Beis Hamikdash where you're bikurim. The kohen takes the tenner, the basket from you, and he puts it before Hashem. So what does the Gemara say? The Gemara says, Tishne Lashon Habo, right? Repeat that Lashon Habo. Chazal teach us. Okay, the Gemara says, Basar Oni, Azla Anyusa, the poverty tends to follow poverty. So it's a little, okay, let's explain this for a second. You have the poor guy, he brings his what does he have there? Garnish with garnish, right? And then you have the rich guy, brings, what kind of fruits does he have? Yeah. He brought in the professionals. They knew how to, mamish. And he brings it in the gold basket, and the other man brings in the cheap basket made out of leaves and branches and garnish. Now, the other man comes with his basket, and the rich guy comes with his basket. The rich guy brings it in gold and silver, beauty, and he takes his gold basket, and he takes it from the kohen, and he puts it down, and he takes out the fruit and gives him back the basket. The poor person, he doesn't give back the basket. I mean, so the Gemara's expression is, now he doesn't have not the fruit and not the basket. I mean, you got to be kidding. So the Gemara's expression is, what could you do? The poor get poorer and the rich get richer. Here he gave and he gets back the gold. Here he doesn't get back even the poor basket. At least give him back his basket. No. So what's pshat? So sometimes Chazal do things, explain away, but Hashem does things, and it's to protect, in Lav Dafka, not to hurt him, to protect his dignity. Because what does he have inside? We don't want to even look. You look inside, Chaloshes, Mamish, it's a oigevald. So what do? You take with the basket, you keep it covered with a nice handkerchief, the nice, these covers, nice covers, and then it's flowers, and then there's garnish, mid garnish. There's nothing. It's cheap. So you don't want to embarrass him. So you take it, you make a whole big deal, and you keep it away. If you would open it up and take out the thing, you would see this aroma or fruit, you would say, Achamvei. So you don't want to embarrass him. So you take the thing as if mamish kodesh lashem. Comes the rich guy, you don't have to worry about embarrassing. You're not going to embarrass him because his fruits are top quality. That's number one. But if you go a little weiter, you can, the Hasidische Taich, instead of Tishne Lashon Haba, it should repeat itself Lashon Haba. You change the Nikudas Tishane Lashon Haba, let it change for the next year. So what does that mean? If you tell the guy that Ibrayo, in Yiddish expression, Ibrayo, next year, let it be so as well, right? If you tell the Araman, let it be so, you should stay poor next year, that's painful. So you don't want to curse him. Therefore, you take it away. So the Hasidic Pshat is Bosser Anya, after Anius, after poverty, right? Azla Anyusa, not that follows, but Azla goes away. You do away with Anyusa, with the poverty. So, I forgot who says this. There was a Rebbe that said, Bosser, after Oni, Oni is Ayin Nun Yud, right? After Oni, what's Bosser Anya? Oni is Ayin Nun Yud. Ayin, after Ayin goes a Pei. After Nun goes a Samach. After Yud goes a Kaf. That's Kesef. If you take the Oni, you spin it around, you turn it around, and you get Kesef, you get money. So Bosser Anya, Ozlan Yusa goes away to Anyusa. So Pshat is when you take the basket from the Oni, you're not trying to embarrass him. You're not trying to curse him. You're trying to take away his curse and say, next you come back with a gold basket, well-to-do. So that's why we're not trying to punish the person. So why is Bikurim? You see, let's go in abyssal even deeper. What's Bikurim? It's the first thing. Now, who says a minute later, a person is going to have everything? He might lose all his money, all his health, all his nachas, all his wealth, all his mazel. So what's your guarantee to stay later? So here's the point. If the first second, okay, first let's go psychology for 1 second, then we'll go into the philosophy for a second. You see, if you get a pleasure in Olam Hazeh, take any perfume, any good smelling thing, you smell it, right? Any perfume, you have to go, Amal, I don't know what they do today. They used to have coffee beans, right? And you take perfume and a cologne, whatever it is, and you smell one, you smell, Amal, they didn't have these papers. You had to do it on your arm. And then you lose your sense of smell because you smelled it. It's all mixed up. Because a person only can realize, a drastic change. But if it's not a drastic, you get used to it very quickly. So you take coffee, you throw away the different smell, and then you can come back to smell something totally different. So with the papers, whatever. Now, the point is that if you had any physical pleasure, listening to something so beautiful, amazing, right? So emotional, seeing something amazing, smelling something and tasting something and feeling something amazing, you can never get more than the first feeling. The first feeling is spitz, it's top. See how top from the, after that it only goes down. That's why after marriage, I always say, I bench the chas and the kala, the night of the wedding shouldn't be the best night of your life. It should be the beginning. It should only get better, because after that, it can never get better. Because in the physical world, the first is chachas, the newness, the explosion of taste and visual and auditory, and you can never get it better than that. You can only try to work so hard to get it as much as what you had it the first time. So you're always losing. So what do? You take that first thing and you makdash it Hashem. Once the first thing is makdesh Hashem, right now the second thing, the second is not, the second and the third and the fourth is not going down because the first one I didn't have. So I'm trying to find it in the second and the third and the fourth. The point is that once this first thing, this crazy excitement, you're denied this excitement, you have to give it away. What do you mean I have to give it away? I have to come to Yerushalayim and dedicate it to Hashem? Why is that? So even if somebody eats something, but it's already not. I'm trying to boast. I'm trying to feel like, wow, I did it. I passed the test, the examines, the bar. I've got my diploma. I've got my title, PhD, whatever it is. I got my thing, and it's all. I did it. I did it. I plowed through. I just worked that hard and. Look what I created. Look what I achieved. Look what I accomplished in life. And if you take that away, then I continuously have to accomplish, have to achieve. I'm always still lacking. I'm lacking not in physical life, but I'm lacking because I still have a way to grow. But if I got that already, so that's everything from there is down. What do you do after you're president, after you're king, and you walk, everything is depression down. So Hashem says the first thing, give it away the first thing. And then when you don't have that crazy feeling of the wedding, wow, crazy. If you busy at your wedding, making everybody, all your guests feel good, when they come over to give you mazel tov, to greet you, to bless you, to wish you well, you make them feel, you made my nights. Without you, I'm so thankful you came. You cannot imagine. Without your mamish made me feel so good. And when a person tries to make everybody, so that's bikurim, giving away to Hashem. It's not me. And then after that, you don't go down in depression, and you continuously try to go up and up and up. But let's go to philosophy for a second. How do you grow something ever greater and greater? There's Ahavas Oilam and Havarab. Ahavas Oilam is when it's down. It's at night, it's dark. It's dark in front of our eyes. We don't really get why so much pain and so much, we don't understand. So we say Ahavas Oilam. It's an everlasting Ahava, although you don't know it, you don't feel it, it's dark, but I'm telling you it's everlasting Ahava. It's Emunah. Emunah Kol Zois after Krishma, after Shema Yisrael. But then at the day is emes v'yatze v'nocha festgestellt. And we see it and we feel it, it's tangible, we know it. In that case, when it's a whole different story. So I don't have to trust, that's a Havarabba. What's a Havarabba? A Havarabba is everlasting growth. Rabba means it always multiplies. It gets more and more and more. How do you get that to be more and more? There's only one way. In Ruchnius, it's possible to grow and grow. Nachla b'li mitzarim is not concerning this world. This world is no way to grow the pleasure. The only way to grow pleasure in this world is to take more. So if somebody takes a dose of alcohol, a dose of drugs, all these, they have to get a bigger and a greater and a stronger dose because they don't feel it anymore, right? They're sort of immune in a certain way, and they have to take a greater dose to get the same effect that they got at the beginning. And the only way to grow the pleasure, the deep, everlasting pleasure, is to tap into Nitzchis. If you tap into Nitzchis, to Hashem, that's a whole different story. So the first, Hashem says, you want to enjoy everything. You want to enjoy brachas. Start with Hakaras HaTov. If you have a Hakaras HaTov, not thank you. Thank you is a one-time thing. A grateful attitude. Attitude of gratitude. Live with attitude of gratitude. That's going to keep you going up on the scale of pleasure, of everlasting pleasure, multiplying it ever more and more and more and more all the time. That you could grow. That's without boundaries. That's an neshama. That's a soulful thing that you could grow. You can grow higher, greater, more worthy, more meaningful. And when a person lives such a life, they live a fulfilled life, and they can always be happy with Smach B'chol. It's it's already so late. So the Torah says V'samachta b'chol ha'tov. What's b'chol ha'tov? And then there's video meisters, you give meister, right? The cholatov, all the time. What's the cholatov? See, a person comes up to Shemayim. He went through yeshiva. She went through school. He went through high school. She went through. He went to yeshiva Ktana Gedoyla, and then she went to seminary. And they went on to produce. And the question is, you're producing now, but people paid you out for 10, 20, 30 years. While you were a student, while you intern, or while whatever, people paid you out. So you come up to Shemaim and you said, look, this is what I accomplished. And Shemaim is going to tell you 1 second. You know how many generations participated in your accomplishments? You know that the roof over your head wasn't because the roads, all the piping and all the canalization and the water and the gas and the electric and all the computer and the waves and all the internet, everything that made everything work, the whole infrastructure of business, the whole infrastructure of the food scale, the food line, clothing, everything, protection, army, everything. You know how many people participated? You were one link and a tiny link. But moreover, there were sponsors. There were people that gave taxes, and the government took those taxes and paid out your education. So you're not the only one. So what do you mean? I finished Shas 10 times? No, you only finished Shas 5 times. What happened to the 10 times? Well, 5 of them goes to your sponsors. Well, half goes to the people that participated. They worked hard. But what do you mean? We never met. It's a Yisachas full of business in this world. You think you just walk into everything ready and everybody serves and everybody pitches in and everybody gives tzedakah and mice and everything else. You think you get everything? No. Where's the yashrus? Where's the fairness? Where's tzedek? So what happens? A person only gets according to their part in the whole scheme of things. Says the Torah, Asher b'shul shetes asher. Give a tenth, and I'll consider as if you give 100%. You gave 100%, and if you give a tenth of your produce, you give a tenth of your revach. Oh, then b'shvil shetisashin, you'll become rich yourself. You don't have to come out to sponsors, and if you don't come up to sponsors in Shemaim, you'll get all the credit and all the reward of everything you did because you didn't have to do a half business, take away half of what you did. So ultimately, and the rich guys will be able to learn also half the day because you have enough. They don't have to support you. There will always be such situations, but you get the gist of it. Okay. Video meisters, and you tell Hashem, I did everything you told me. Bi'arti hakodesh min habayis. I took away all the kodesh, all the sacred the produce that I was supposed to bring to the base of Mikdash and share as bikurim, as trumas, meisters, to the Kohen and Levi and all the other obligations. I gave already not only to myself, but all the people that don't have anybody to support them, and I supported them. And every generation something else. Over here it says the Levi didn't have his own land. Lager is the stranger that came, and the Layosim, the orphan, Balalmona and the widow. I did exactly the way you command me. I wasn't over your mitzvahs, and I didn't forget. What didn't I forget? So before we spoke about, I didn't forget. When you have a good, many people forget Hashem, and the bikurim is to bring you back, not to forget when you have a good. So that's number one. But there's another cute thing over here. If you're over the mitzvahs of Trumas Meisers, so the Gemara says that the rats and the mice are going to eat up your crop. So if they eat up your crop, then and you eat from the same crop, it's kosher l'shikha. You forget your learning. So I didn't transgress. In other words, I did give Trumas Meisers, and therefore I didn't forget my learning because the mice and rats didn't come and chew on my crops, on my food. Let's go weiter. Therefore, Hashkifa, look down, glaze down. Uvorche Samchi Yisrael, and bench the Yidden. What are you benching them with? Well, you're benching them with Gitte Kinder, Bonu bnei bonois, Bonu bonois, bnei Bonu bnei bonois, Oiskim batoyre v'mitzvahs. You have family, doiris yishalom v'varachim. That's you benching them, and of course, mandi obchaya mazoina. If he gives life, he gives parnasa too. So you're benching the kinder for doiris and doiris. Now, not only the people, but the land. To bless the land, give chen in the land. You can have a blessed person, but the land, everything, it doesn't produce, it doesn't give. There's no chen there. The price goes down, the real estate is down. Nobody likes it, nobody wants it. There's no demand, and there's no mazel there. There's no. So he's benching the land also. The land should produce not only beautiful and quality crop, but it should also produce the people. In other words, the people and the land, the special connection to the land of Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Zovas Cholov Dvosh. Zovas Cholov Dvosh is a thing that a land flowing with milk and honey. Shabbos is Nachal B'li Mitzarev. The word, the Soif Tevis, the last letter in the word Zovas, Saf, Cholov, Beis, Dvash, Shin, that's Shabbos. Zovas, Cholov, Dvash, back is Shabbos. You take Zovas, Cholov, Dvash and you turn it around to Nitzchias, everlasting, ever-flowing. Zovas, Cholov, Dvash, Nitzchias. Dvash is the sweetness of life. Cholov is the nutrition of life. You bring them together, and the flow, you don't stop the flow. That's Shabbos, the Yesod of all brachas, and that's the Yesod of Nitzchias. We tell Hashem, Hashkifa Mimoim, again. Do you hear me? Yeah. Hashkifa Mimoim Kotchecha Min Hashemayim. Look down at your Yiddelach. Look down at your precious children. And see what they do for each other. They didn't only think about themselves. They didn't go overbound. They didn't go crazy about their gashmis and forget about somebody else's gashmis. No, rather they saw the other's gashmis as their ruchnis, and they took care of all the unfortunate, less fortunate brethren. They took care of all the needy people. They made them feel good. They didn't embarrass them. They took their teneh and they didn't embarrass them. So what's the word over here? The Gemara says, somebody says, all that he shared when it comes to giving tzedakah chesed, you gave him a sandwich, that's it. You helped him out, that's it. No questions asked. They don't check your kishkes. What if you meant it well, you didn't mean it well. The Mishnah says, the world stands on three things. Torah is intellectual, avoid is connecting to Hashem through emotion, and Gemilas Chasadim through good deeds, which is Gemilas Chasadim, it's his benevolence, helping out each other. Now, it says, again, three things. Al, ha, Torah, the Torah, how you do it, the Torah, which Torah? The worthy Torah, not for yourself, but for Yenim. In other words, totally l'shem shemayim, for God's sake, not your sake, not kardum lachtaboy, that you're using the Torah for your covet, for your means. And avoid it again. I'm not using davening as I need this and I need that and I want a good name and no, that's not what it is. Because otherwise it would be like the person that tries to score points and he comes into the community and asks, where do you score points here? And they say, here they only cherish strong people. And he becomes the strongest guy. Here they cherish warrior, becomes a warrior. Here they cherish smart, becomes the smartest. Here they cherish the most talented, becomes the most talented. Here they cherish the most rich, okay, becomes the most rich. Here they cherish the most Talmud Chacham, becomes a Talmud Chacham. Here they cherish Anova, and he becomes the greatest of such a unassuming guy. It's nothing to do with Hashem, nothing to do with Shemayim. It's all for himself, and he scores no points. If you come to the Eved comes to the rabbi, and you come to your Odin, your master, and you tell him, look, you want me to bring you a cup of coffee? You want me to bring you a cup of water? Pay me, top dollar. And he says, pay you? I took you out of the dungeon. You were dying, not only from for a lack of food and water. You were dying emotionally, mentally. You were dying physically. You were sick as mom was crazy sick. And the doctor said that there's nobody. And I fought and I brought in the greatest physicians and the greatest specialists. And they worked on you for months. I brought you to life. And I nourished you and with the greatest, specialists in nutrition and supplements. And I took care of you as a schwarz apple for like the most cherished thing in my life, more than my children. I gave you room and board. I gave you education. I gave you everything you have. Everything. You're like my family. When I ask you for a cup of water, you're going to take amnas lekabel pras? You're still asking for a award for it? I'll tell you, pay me for what I did for you. You'll never, in 100 lifetimes, you won't pay me back. So what's the point? The point is, amnas tiyu kavodim amnas shaloi lekabel pras. Hamsham shemesar shaloi amnas lekabel pras. Not for reward, but do it as out of love. So when you come to Hashem and you say, out of love, do it. So we look at Hashem and we tell Hashem, Ashkif mo'im kodshchem an hashamayim. Look down. Ashkif is always bad. It's stern, it's strict, it's judgmental. And we say, I don't care. You look down. Look at the Yiddelach. Look how much they're sacrificing. They're giving away from theirs. All Hashem Shemayim, nothing to do with themselves. Just a second, please. And we go and we say, we help out not for my sake. We generally help out. We want it for Yenim's good, not my interest. When Hashem sees that, then the din screams, "Bedinu sheikabel schori," and then we get all the brachas. So what does the Torah say later? Right? The Torah says if you do all that, okay, it says, yeah. Yitzav Hashem. Where is that? No. It's here. If you listen to Hashem and you do what he says, Hashem, all of a sudden, all the people are going to look up to the Jews and going to look up to them, and out of admiration, out of total inspiration, I'll say, and the Torah says, all these brachas visigucha, and it'll reach you. Why? What does that mean? All the brachas will come and reach you. So you have many people that they're smart, they're talented, and they're the good people. But the muzzle always falls through the cracks. They always lose it. They come till the cusp, but they don't quite make it there. And Hashem says it'll come to you and visigucha, and they'll reach you the brachas. Some people try to run away from brachas. The muzzle tries to run away, and Hashem says, "I'll get it to you anyway." They think that they saved themselves, and they really bury themselves down. They think that many times you have all these deals. You thought that you lost out, and later it turns out that you gained. Many such stories, but I just want to give one story for what the There was a guy, Chazal bring down. There was a guy that walked on the on the road, and he used to walk every day the same road, and he saw a phenomenal something strange. Out of all the sheep, one sheep would go to the left side, and away from the hundreds, right, of sheep going to the right, towards right, one always veered off and between the bushes, and then it went, and he didn't see it come back. So after a few days, he said, "Where does the sheep wear off?" And he followed, and he follows and follows and follows, and after a while, he comes to such a cave. There's a bear there, either broken hands and feet or missing hands and feet. I can't remember. And the bear is immobile, and the sheep comes and lies down right next to him. The bear starts ripping the sheep apart and eats them up. So this small, bewildered sheep that lost its way was lunch once a day for his bear. And he thinks to himself, if the Eibishter can give food for this immobile bear, why can't he feed me? Why am I struggling so much? Maybe I don't have emunah. Maybe I never understood V'yisigucha. He comes home to his wife and says, V'yisigucha, I'm sorry, I'm not going anywhere. Why am I wasting so many hours from the early morning to late at night? I'm killing myself and I'm making nothing. It's not worth it. Something, other guy would make this in 5 minutes, not even an hour's wage. So why am I killing myself? Rather, let me work in the moon and decide where it comes from. If Hashem can feed the bear, he can feed me. And his wife thought he went out of his mind. No, you got to work. I'm willing to work, but not for no pay. Because Emunah, he worked on his Emunah. It's one of those stories. Don't do it at home. But the lesson of it we have to take, and then we can have. So the kids. So his wife says, "Come on, go chop wood." He says, "I'm not going to chop wood. I make nothing. I work the whole day. I chop wood and come home nothing." The kids. Somebody comes over and says, "We want to borrow your chamor." No, I'm not borrowing my chamor. That's all I have. I got my donkey to schlep the wood, but his wife says, "But you're not. You said you stopped chopping, but I'm not giving away one." She said, "We'll rent it." Oh, rent it, no problem. And he takes they give him money and then they rent the thing and he tells his wife, "You see, already, but that's not the money you're supposed to get. That's a one-time thing." And the kids they rented it for the day, and it came the day came and left the next day, and nobody brought back the chamor, nobody the donkey. So his wife says, "Batlin, you got a few pennies and you lost the chamor. Now no job, no vehicle to carry the wood, and now you have nothing." The axe was in the chamor, hooked on, and now you don't even have what to chop the wood with. Kitzur. It turns out these guys were terrible people. They were shoidedim, they were robbers, and they went and they used to kill people. They used to go through the forest and so on. So they just did another one. And they went and there was somebody walking after a whole month's worth of work, and he had a nice few coins on him, and they would hide it somewhere, in the ground, or make a simon on the tree, and they would come back later because they had to go weiter, and they couldn't carry the money, or somebody will steal it from them. So one of the times when they did this terrible thing, they tried to dig it under, and it turns out that they saw it was dug before, so they dug a little more and a little more. Now they need a chamar to schlep all that oitza like this. It was a little bag, but now they get this. They need this big chamar, so they went to searching. There was no chamar in the area, only him. So they rented whatever he wanted, and they took the chamar, and they put the whole thing, the whole contents on the. The thing is that they couldn't schlep it because they had to travel far and they needed food. They were out of food. They didn't know they're going to come across this. So one guy decided one of them will watch the treasure on the chamor, and the other one will go to town. It'll take him an hour to walk to town. They'll bring food back, bread and whatever, and they had enough money to buy any food. So the guy that went to town said, "Why do I have to share this big treasure of gold and silver and diamonds and gems? Why do I have to sit with him? I can be the richest guy in town for the rest of my life. I don't have to go do anything anymore." So he went and bought also poison, and he bought poison, and he put it into the bread. So when he brings the bread to his fellow will eat and die, and he'll have the whole of himself. So, but while he was away for 2 hours, the other guy, there was a trap for animals. He saw a trap for animals. So he saw a bar. So he got a lot of branches, soft branches and leaves. There was from fall time, so a lot of branches and leaves, and it covered up that hole. And it was made for animals to catch animals with a trap that snaps and it'll kill the guy. So he covered it with leaves. So when the guy comes, he brought the donkey a few feet away behind the tree where that trap was. He covered it up and he put the shmata that he had on him, he put it down as if to sit down. And they're going to sit down for bread to eat, and then they're going to go out to the long haul, to travel with that heavy. Now, so the guy comes and he gives him the food. He says, why don't you sit down next to me? From the way you walked for hour there, hour back, rest up, and then we'll eat here. So the guy, okay, he sits down on that shmata, and he falls through, and he falls in that pit, and the thing snaps, and he dies. So now the guy gave him his bread, not thinking that it's poison bread. He went and ate the bread. Now both of them died. Now it came in it came in the evening. I mean, and this chamor was used to going home, and by mistake, because they put the treasure on thing, they didn't tie him, They tied him loosely. So he said, he wanted to get home. He didn't eat. So he schlepped his head back and forth, and the rope, sort of opened up, whatever it was, and he went home to where he knew he had to go home. And he brings home the oitza to the Yiddilah, and the Yiddilah sees what he brought home, and he tells his wife, look, if you trust in Hashem, you get everything. He said, the rabbi said, "V'sigucha is taka v'sigucha, uvolach kol brachas eli v'sigucha," and they'll find you. So you have you see Hashem. So that's why you have in the tefillin, the Gemara says, Eile tefillin sheberosh. So that's why, in other words, b'derech echad yetzu lefanecha uv'shiva derachim yanusum mipanecha. They'll come to you with one koyach. The koyach of the nations of the world, they're also b'nei Avraham. Esav comes from Avraham. He's a descendant from Avraham. That's Rome and all the Christians and those that. Then there's the Muslims. Can I talk? Is it off or on? It's on?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you have the Muslims, and they come with also Yishmael from Avraham. So they tiny, but it's only b'derech echad. They only have one. And we have this, like we said, the three heads of the Sheen on one side, and the 4 heads of the Sheen on the other side, the 3 others and the 4 Amoyas. We have b'shiva drachim digna. We have a lot more yichus, and we have a lot more steadfast yichus, which is continuous yichus, which is everlasting yichus. And so we have all the reason, and whatever it takes. Not only that, we have the land. So I just want to finish with this little thing. I don't know, stories today, I don't know. It's too long. A different time stories. But the point is that something we should never take for granted. You take from the pri of what? Hadama? No, it's a pri eitz. Hala eitz val pri eitz is said by the Alamichya and Hala eitz. Val Pedus or in Etzisrael Pedus Seho. We can never take advantage. We can never take for granted. Our forefathers would give anything to come to Israel, even 2-3 generations ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, when they were exiled. And those who were exiled way before 2,000 years ago, they would give anything to come to Israel. So if a person can actually live in Eretz Yisrael and appreciate it, there's nothing that Hakoros HaToiv can pay you back. The more you say thank you, the more Hashem gives you reason to say thank you. Let's be mechazik in this very thing of appreciating everything Hashem does for us. It shouldn't be Nahamad Chsufa. We should have the cake and eat the pie and eat it too. Let Hashem give us, all of us, the schus to yearn for Yisrael, yearn for the Torah Yisrael, yearn for Mashiach. That when he comes, we'll be able to rejoice in the Beis Hamikdash and Yisrael. We should have all the brachas and no klolos and all the brachas. And one more thing, I said it once, but maybe more than once. There's Achad Osa Samamonim. Let's strengthen Mechazik the Achad Osa Samamonim. There's 11 klolos in this parsha. Last time when we were talking about it many weeks ago, but let's repeat it. Achad Osa Samamonim. It's 11 klolos. A 12th klola is a klolos de klola. I thought about it today by Mincha. Say everyone counted, and I try to count it by finger. It's a gewaltige Zach. Usually, Atzoli v'tzipoirim v'chelbon v'voina. Mishkal shiv mona. Moir uketzia shebolius nid v'charkim. Mishkal shishas mona. Hakoyis shneimose v'kiluv v'shloisha v'kinom tisha. It's a gewaltige Zach. It's the aroma. It takes care of all the brach. It turns from brach to bracha. It turns from nishka bar mazel to bar mazel. It turns from not panosa to panosa. It turns from being ill and sick to being healthy and prosperous and being fruitful and benevolent. It's such a thing that it took away all the bad aroma from not having chen. It gives you chen. It gives you everything when somebody connects to this good aroma, to the ma'asim tovim, to be pleasant unto others. When you walk in, people shall like you. Be the ultimate elul of ohov. If you're ohov lemata v'nechbad lemala, right? It should be ohov lemata to the people, and that's a good smell. And the nechbad lemata, that's the ultimate elul. Thank you very much.